WNBA fans are bracing for impact because it looks like Caitlin Clark might have gotten injured again.
All right, this is not good. Caitlin Clark in serious pain with that groin injury. She just re-aggravated it, and that is not good.
Miss. Clark from the logo! Been out there for a while. How do you feel physically after finishing that one?
I feel good. I thought my rotations were good.
It's a little bit easier, and you're very, very motivated, and you're close to the finish line of getting back and being back. And then
I wasn't expecting Caitlin Clark to be coming back this early, but ESPN put out an article earlier this week kind of summing up. They was predicting Caitlin Clark to be back by August the 12th. Now, this just came out of the pipeline of the Indiana Fever front office.
She's back. The name, the face, the heartbeat of the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, is walking back into the arena, and nothing will ever be the same. For weeks, the league has been holding its breath. TV ratings collapsed, ticket sales crashed, rival teams moved games to bigger arenas, only to see empty seats.
Caitlin Clark is currently the orchestrator.
And all of it came down to one simple truth. Without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA felt incomplete. But now, the wait is over. The Fever's franchise savior, the league's biggest draw, the player who's rewriting the history of women's basketball is lacing up again. And she's not just coming back to play, she's coming back to save the season, to reignite playoff hopes, to bring the electricity back to every single arena she steps into. Because Caitlin Clark isn't just an athlete, she's the spark that lights up an entire sport. And when she takes the floor, it's not just a basketball game, it's a moment the whole world is watching. But here's the part nobody wants to admit. The second she disappeared, the league's pulse flatlined. Ratings slashed in half.
The news was just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury.
Ticket prices in free fall. And executives across the WNBA knew this wasn't just the loss of a superstar. This was the loss of the superstar, the one player keeping the entire machine running. Now she's back, and the question isn't if she'll make an impact. It's how fast she'll flip the league upside down again. July 15th, that's the date that sent shockwaves through women's basketball. Clark went down with a groin injury, and the league immediately felt the hit.
Looks like she's in pain after that pass.
Before that moment, Indiana Fever games were averaging 1.81 million viewers, the kind of numbers leagues dream about. After she was sidelined, 847,000, a 53% drop overnight. And it didn't stop there. Across every WNBA game, viewership fell by 55%. Think about that. More than half the audience disappeared because one player couldn't play. You don't see that in the NBA. You don't see that in the NFL. This was different. Ticket prices told the same brutal story. Big games that sold for $210 were suddenly going for under $100. In some arenas, you could get in for $14. Less than a meal at the concession stand. It was like pulling the star act from a concert. People didn't just lose interest, they stopped showing up. And deep down, every WNBA executive knew exactly what it meant. The league wasn't just missing a star, it was missing the star. Caitlin Clark isn't just an athlete, she's an economy with sneakers on. Sports economists project her total impact this season could reach $1 billion. That's not a typo. That's TV rights, ticket sales, tourism, sponsorships, merch, all tied to one player. For the Indiana Fever alone, she's worth about $340 million in franchise value. Before she showed up, they were a team most people barely noticed. Now, they're the hottest ticket in the league. The merch numbers are just as insane. WNBA gear sales are up 233% at Dick's Sporting Goods and 500% at Fanatics since Clark joined the league. She's in the top 20 best-selling athletes across all sports, sitting 6th among basketball players, ahead of multiple NBA stars. And then there's her deal with Nike, $28 million over 8 years. That's hundreds of times her WNBA salary, which is just $76,535 this year. Her own agent admitted it's literally impossible for the WNBA to pay her what she's actually worth. When you take her off the court, you're not just losing a shooter or a passer, you're pulling the plug on the WNBA's power source. When Clark went down, the Fever were thrown straight into survival mode. Both backup point guards, Aari McDonald and Sydney Colson, suffered season-ending injuries just weeks later. Suddenly, Indiana was scrambling, signing 12-year veteran Odyssey Sims on a hardship contract just to fill the roster.
It's not my first time just coming to a new team and coming in and just being me. The biggest thing is just doing what I do best.
On paper, they actually held their own. going 6-4 over the last 10 games without Clark. Kelsey Mitchell stepped up, dropping 26 points and 8 assists against Chicago with just 1 turnover. Aaliyah Boston was putting up video game numbers, shooting 78% from the field over a 4-game stretch. But here's the truth everyone in that locker room knew. This was borrowed time. Without Clark, they can compete, but they can't contend. They can't keep TV ratings in the millions. They can't pack arenas night after night. Even rival players have said it. Sophie Cunningham, flat out, admitted the Fever look like a different team when Clark's on the floor. And she's right. With her, they're a playoff threat. Without her, they're just another team trying to hang on. For most players, an injury means time to rest, rehab, and come back strong. For Caitlin Clark, every day she's out is millions lost for the league, franchises, and sponsors. That's a weight no rookie should have to carry. But she does. On Sue Bird's podcast, Clark opened up about it. She admitted she feels the responsibility of being out there because she knows exactly what happens when she's not. The ratings dip, the ticket prices collapse, and the buzz disappears. Her own mom texted her during this injury, "You've taken so much time for everybody else. You have to take time for yourself now." It was a reminder that she's not just a machine built to sell out arenas. She's human, and her body needs to heal. But her return isn't like a normal comeback. There's no slow ramp-up, no preseason build. She's being thrown straight into Game 30, expected to light it up from the jump. And with a soft tissue injury like hers, it's a constant cycle of feeling good, then feeling frustrated, and trying to trust the process. Still, Clark knows what's waiting for her. Millions of fans, record-breaking viewership, and the pressure to be perfect every single night. When Caitlin Clark steps back on the court, it's not just a comeback, it's an event. The last time she returned from injury, against the New York Liberty on June 14th, the game peaked at 2.8 million viewers. That's ESPN's third most watched WNBA game ever on ABC. Even with her missing 19 of 32 games this season, WNBA viewership is already up 21% compared to last year. Non-Fever games are pulling in 37% more viewers than before she entered the league. Proof that her effect is spreading. And this time, the timing couldn't be better. The Fever are 5th in the standings at 18-14, right in the playoff hunt. They just destroyed Chicago without Clark, showing they can win in tough spots. But with her back, every team in the league is on notice. The opponent for her potential return is Paige Buchers. And that's not just a matchup, it's a narrative goldmine. Fans have debated for years who's better, and now it's about to play out in real time. Expect cameras, headlines, and social media to explode the moment the ball tips. This could easily become the most watched regular season WNBA game in history, and everyone knows it. The truth is Caitlin Clark. It's dependent on her. When she's out, the product changes, the crowds shrink, and the league's biggest storylines fade away. Executives are quietly worried. What happens if she gets hurt again? What happens when she eventually retires? Right now, the WNBA feels less like a balanced league and more like a one-woman empire, and that's a risky foundation. Her return comes during one of the most brutal stretches of the season when injuries are piling up across the league. Every team knows they'll be facing a version of the Fever that's completely different with Clark on the floor. They'll defend her harder, hit her harder, and test every inch of her game. This isn't just about winning games. It's about proving that the Caitlin Clark effect is sustainable, that she can carry this pressure game after game without breaking down. And if she does it, the WNBA's future isn't just safe. It's about to explode. Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball star. She's a cultural phenomenon. She's pulling in fans who've never watched a WNBA game in their lives. Her games regularly outdraw NBA playoff matchups. And her appeal? It cuts across every demographic the league has struggled to reach for decades. She's rewriting the blueprint for women's sports marketing. The All-Star fan vote proves it. Clark pulled in 1.3 million votes, compared to just 96,000 for the top player 2 years ago. That's not growth, that's a tidal wave. Everywhere she goes, records fall, attendance surges, merchandise sells out, television viewership spikes. She's turned regular season games into must-see events, and she's doing it in a league that's been fighting for mainstream relevance for years. For the players, she's more than a star, she's hope. Hope for bigger paychecks, hope for sold-out arenas, hope that women's basketball can finally take its place alongside the biggest sports in the world. But with that hope comes pressure, the kind that makes every game feel like a championship and every injury feel like a national crisis. The Indiana Fever have something right now that every championship team dreams of: momentum, talent, and the return of their franchise savior at exactly the right time. They've got back-to-back number one. One picks in Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, a roster stacked with veterans like Diana Bonner, Natasha Howard, and Sophie Cunningham, and a coach in Stephanie White who knows the margin for error against elite teams is razor thin. Clark said it herself before the season even started. "My expectation is for us to try to win a championship." And that wasn't just talk. Early season wins against Chicago and competitive showings against defending champs New York proved the Fever belong in the conversation. Now, the return of Clark flips the switch from playoff hopeful to title contender. The schedule ahead is brutal. Every game matters. But it's also loaded with national TV spots. That means more exposure, more pressure, and more chances for Clark to show exactly why she's the most valuable player in women's basketball history. If she stays healthy, this isn't just a playoff push, it's the start of something historic. Circle the date. Because when Caitlin Clark finally walks back onto that court, it's not just another game, it's the WNBA's main event. Her likely return pits her against Paige Buchers, a matchup that's been hyped for years. Social media debates, highlight comparisons, endless who's better arguments. All of it comes to a head here, and now the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just Clark versus Buechers, this is ratings gold. The last time Clark came back from injury, she delivered 32 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. Just shy of a triple-double in a win that handed the Liberty their first loss of the season. That game pulled in nearly 3 million viewers. Now, the Fever are in playoff position, the league is starving for her star power, and every camera in the arena will be locked on number 22. Expect packed stands, record-breaking TV numbers, and a social media frenzy before, during, and after the game. For the WNBA, this isn't just a regular season matchup, this is their Super Bowl. And the opening act to a playoff run that could redefine the league's future. Caitlin Clark isn't just coming back to play basketball, she's coming back to carry an entire league on her shoulders. The ticket sales, the ratings, the sponsorship deals, the playoff story.